Hello Nigerians, my name is Henry Debem from the G-Roll Africa. I want to share with you practical and organic solution to bad governance and citizenship in Nigeria. And I assure you, if this idea is diligently adopted by the good citizens of Nigeria and it does not transform Nigeria in the next, say, 5 to 7 years, then the citizens will be justified to lose all hopes in Nigeria. I promise you that this is the most powerful solution to Nigeria's governance problem. It won't be easy, and there is nothing ever that is capable of destroying the level of corruption in Nigeria right now, especially with regards to the bad governance. However, this solution seems to be easier and less risky than the protests that could waste many lives, many young people's lives on the streets, and save our negative energy that we exert in social media with no results so far. I understand why so many people will resort to protests, because they want to express their anger and their disappointments. But again, because people will want to find easy and quick relief to their pains that they go through, they look for a sweet solution and believe that protest is the shortest cut, which may work at the time to bring down any bad governance, any bad government, but at the risk of many lives. And it may likely install another corrupt leadership or corrupt citizens, as we have seen in the past. Now, what the worst that could happen is to remove monkeys and install baboons, okay? And you just discover that the protesters are just interested in solving their immediate problems, and you will find worse citizens among the protesters who are also interested to just grab power and plunge Nigeria into the bigger hardship. Why? Because the character and ulterior motives of most protesters and that of the bad politicians are essentially the same. So you cannot destroy evil motives with evil motives. Rather, power will only change hands, but the motives are basically the same. Most protesters were never strategic and not inspired by service for others. They're not interested in serving others. They're just interested in letting their pains, their personal motives, their personal gains or benefits, be achieved in one way or the other. And I will tell you, definitely that is right. If everyone has no problem or has their motives or their benefits achieved in one way or the other, there wouldn't be issues, there wouldn't be call for protest and agitations. For instance, during protests, just bring out individual protesters and offer them jobs in the same bad governance or the same bad government that they are protesting against, and you trust actually what will happen. So similar corrupt citizens take advantage of the protests by the vulnerable protesters to grab power for their selfish interests, right? Use Nigeria as a perfect case study. From the time of the military coup to all the protests that have led us or led Nigerians to the ridiculous civilian coup system that we have today, which is not democracy. Maybe physical protest is not in our DNA as a nation. Perhaps the reason it never worked for us, but we can still protest differently. So this is just to provide a little background to the solution I'm about to share with you, if you can hear me now. Here is the solution, and this is the summary of the core solution before I get into the details or the step-by-steps that are easily practicable and feasible for everyone to follow, right? But the summary of this solution is: stop fighting the existing bad government or governance. Rather, citizens can ignore the powers of bad governance and look inward to create their own new desired governance value system that will naturally challenge the old system. I somewhat believe in this natural concept that says, if you want to destroy the old forever, don't fight it. Just create the new one with superior features. And the old will naturally and systematically become relevant and die in natural death. This concept is used perfectly well in advancing technology and other areas of human development. We are yet to see it apply in politics. A political system does not have to stay for several decades with no results, and the people are helplessly crying for help from outside when they have all the help that they need. If they could be creative enough in their own sufferings, they will find help for themselves. The only reason a people cannot beat any political system is when the majority of the people are like the system itself. Evil can never win evil with the same evil. So we can't be crying against bad governance when we all exhibit bad governance in our little spaces, all in the attempt to survive or destroy the same bad governance. Now, this solution is called C.O.T, Citizens-Oriented Transformation, since the preferred and quicker solution, known as the L.O.T, Leadership-Oriented Transformation, has and still been failing us since the independence. Perhaps C.O.T will raise or identify the crop of leaders who will use the L.O.T to sustain the change that C.O.T is able to initiate. So how do we create new government value system? Let us begin with understanding certain values or certain facts which will appear strongly in the solution I'm about to share. And these facts are also building the background and the foundation of the solution so that you appreciate it more. Number one, the current hardship and bad governance we are facing in Nigeria today may turn to be the greatest and the most beautiful opportunity and assets that will recreate Nigeria into most beautiful and modern human civilization that the world is waiting for or has never seen. This is one. Two, many citizens are sick in this country, and unfortunately, many of them have found themselves in the government. I don't blame them, because we have a system that produces sick minds. I mean, that's the natural state of such systems. And if not reversed, our children may be worse. It means that if you pass through that system, the chances of you behaving sick or not finding a healthy mental balance in your life is very high. Imagine someone who chooses to destroy his own house, loot from his own people, and runs off to stay in his neighbor's house, including his enemy's house. He even chooses to keep his family in another man's house as a safe zone, while he is the one constituting insecurity and all manners of destructions and hardships and agony in his own house. His only interest in his house is to loot and kill, but he behaves well in another man's house. So he never thinks of fixing his own house to make it safe for his neighbors to come and stay. Now, do you believe that anyone who thinks this way is well upstairs? Do you think everything is normal? This is the little highlight of the insanity our value systems breeds as a normal course in Nigeria and in Africa at large. So don't blame any citizen, but we have to change this. 3. In the decent fight to liberate our country, just acknowledge the existence of betrayers among us. Helpless Nigerians or psychopaths who may still betray this struggle for the total liberation from bad governance just for their stomachs. That's all they could think about. These citizens can only see Nigeria from the lens of self-benefits and crumbs of bread from their master's table. They are not seeing the bigger picture, so I have no reasons to blame them. By the time they have an idea where we should be, nothing would ask them to change. They will have their own internal transformation on the counter. Now, the fourth one is, no single person can change Nigeria, just like no single person can destroy Nigeria without the accomplices of the fellowship of their likes, right? So understand that there is so much power in the people. Bad governance needs the unity of bad people to run. As well, good governance needs the unity and character of good people to run. The stability of any government depends on the extent that the citizens, both civilians and the armed forces, are willing to agree and protect it. Same way is the power of money that the rich use to oppress the poor, right? The power of money is also to the extent that the people are willing to agree and accept it as a legal tender. And that happens in all communities. But this is a topic of another day. Now, the fifth understanding and the fact that will form the background of this solution is that, humanly speaking, there is no quick solution to social and governance problems we have now, whose foundation is already divisive from the onset, and it has lasted for decades. Now, the problem has become endemic, and we are living with it. So a lot of intentional patience and seamless strategic organic actions will be required from the citizens for C.O.T approach. 6, we don't really need divisions in Nigeria, because the corruption and the bad governance we see today is in every clan, every tribe, every religion, every regions. So it is among the rich and the poor. You will find it everywhere. So you don't just think that because certain group are poor that they are sane or they are civilized. The same corruption dwells among them. So it's not just because you have the money, right? So go to your state and local governments and see what's going on there. What we need is actually a technical separation of the bad eggs from the good eggs. then the true purpose and power of Nigeria as the most powerful black nations in the world will emerge. 7. The way we see our bad politicians is different from the way God sees them. Very sadly, even in their wickedness, God still loves them and wants them to be perfect. God still wants them to repent for his own purpose. I'm sorry, this might not be what you want to hear now, but I'm telling you the truth. He still needs them and can use them for the good of his purpose at any point in their lives. I'm sorry, like I said, I'm sure this is not what you want to hear right now. I feel disappointed too, trying to reconcile with this truth. I also have my own shortcomings and I'm struggling with it. And so do we all. So I'm not perfect either. However, the natural system of justice still awaits any wickedness. Everybody will face theirs, alive or in death. That is not part of justice, or that's not part of forgiveness of God. So while we remind them of the need to be ethical in their practices, let's focus our energy in what we can control and build ourselves from the scratch. 8. Nothing happens by chance in this life. There's always a reason for things to happen. And if you don't understand the purpose, you can focus on your pains and mourn forever. Nigeria is meant for a purpose, and this increasing hardship and pains from increasing bad governance is for a purpose. We can take advantage of this purpose and build a new order that the world will look up to. The solution I'm about to share is based on detailed and historical understanding of the purpose of Nigeria. The extent of the suffering is an evidence and confidence that the purpose of Nigeria is great, and we are being refined by hardship to stand courageous and embrace the future as it comes. So having known these facts, the practical and strategic solution of creating a gradual new governance in Nigeria as a peaceful model that other black nations can emulate takes following steps. First, beginning with a private meditation and privately seek God's help, not for miracles now, but for his strength, courage, and grace upon you as a citizen to do what is required of you against your personal setbacks and unyielding mindsets. This is not religion now. This is you and God, first as an individual. Believe me, we cannot win this battle without God, not religion. I could try as much as possible to tell you that this is not religion. Your religion is good, keep to what you know, but for the first time in your life, could you just see God as God if you believe that there is this central, powerful force that holds the universe and that knows about you? I'm sure that's what your religion teaches you, but we can leave out the doctrines, the rituals, the styles, and the extreme beliefs right now. Just go to you and God and seek God's face to this. This is your personal meditation. This is the start of this. And I tell you, what will collapse this old system will be so insignificant in our eyes that nobody will see it coming, not even the powers that be. 2. What kind of governance value system or attributes do you want to see in your Nigeria among the citizens, including the leaders? Because the citizens are not different from the leaders. So when we mean the citizens, we include everyone, the upper class and the lower class, or social high class and the lower class. Everyone are citizens. So if you can dream it, if you can vision that kind of Nigeria, that kind of situation, that kind of dream country that you wish, pen them down. Please write them down. This is the second. Just list them, as many as they could be. List them. Then the third step. This is the crux and the one and only organic initiative that will end bad governance in Nigeria in due time. And this is where the engine room of this whole idea belongs, which I will break down step by step. So we're going to own it and we're going to drive it as good Nigerians in our little spaces until it becomes perfect, that will model your dream Nigeria. Create a small Nigeria within your control. This small Nigeria is a civic support network or community of like-minded citizens founded around the cultural values of ethics that you pen down. All those values that you pen down. A small community modeled into a small Nigeria that is founded in strong will for character, respect, ethics, and discipline. How do we do that? Follow these steps, one after the other. The first step, identify the like minds in your current network and discuss your visions of dream Nigeria with them. Encourage them to join you, initiate the most important giant step of its practical nature, That is the practical organic solution to the bad governance in Nigeria, which is modeling a new virtual country that you can manage within that small group. And take note, not many people will want to join you because it's not a quick, pleasant solution, but starts with a few who share in your vision. You do not need many people at this point. Others who reject your invitation will join you later when they see the train moving. But that might be a bit, there might be some higher prices to pay, by the time it's all set. So it's okay. With your little number, you don't need crowd. Just keep on moving. From that. 2, the second one, together with these founders, you've created in Nigeria already, you are small Nigeria, then give it a name. And the second step, and the name could be Unity Nigeria, Harmony Nigeria, Dream Nigeria, Happy Nigeria, and so on. Any other beautiful name that would always remind you and inspire you that you have a dream that you are working towards. Once that is done, congratulations to your founders. Now you have created a small model of your Nigeria of your dreams. Now, how do you practically mold it out in reality to serve you and your citizens? Meanwhile, just to mention that I and my colleagues have created ours, which is already in the last phase of last formative phase, so to say, and we call it Ubuntu Nigeria, or the new Nigeria Ubuntu. I may talk about that later, but just to say that whatever I am sharing now is as practical, as feasible as what I and some of my colleagues have started doing that we can do. It's not a solution from the Jupiter or from the moon. It's something that is very simple, but just needs little discipline and diligence. Okay. The third one, as small people that you are, just write up a small operational framework, just like the Constitution, founded on those values as your guiding principle or as a guiding document. For example, if you have unity as one of your foundational values, spell out how to ensure that your small country will not pay attention to your citizens' tribes, religion, color, social status, sex, and the rest of it, them all. So just make sure that you do the same for all the values that you have initiated or you have created that you want to build your country on. So that's what the operational framework will do. Basically bringing those operational practices, everyday tasks, and relationship that would ensure that these things are formed and becomes your foundation. Then that becomes your operational framework that drives your cultural and national values of your small country. This includes what qualifies someone to become a citizen of your small country and what are your leading responsibilities of setting up this country. So spell them out clearly in black and white. I have a small framework to guide you through if you are interested. Mind you, this is not a social media groups or a social union like you used to have. It is not the same as your town unions, alumni groups, religious groups, or the WhatsApp groups where you will celebrate only birthdays and contribute for burials. No, please. This is not a social media group. So be very clear and diligent about this model. 4, this is the first step. In the operational framework, create operational ministries or sectors to serve your country. Sectors or ministries such as education, agriculture, health, environment, media, public relations, justice, interior commission that determines and welcome new citizens, ICT, electoral commissions, and other commissions and ministries that you can think of. The administration of these commissions and ministries shall be pro bono or selfless service to your country, and every member must have a value or service or a set of services to provide to your country, right? The skills and services that the citizens can offer to serve this country are their money. That is their power to be a member or a citizen of your country. No physical cash is needed. So the first commandment here is never build your country on money, lest you become like the collapsing Nigeria you are running away from. The only poor man in your country is he who has nothing to offer to his fellow citizens. Absolutely nothing. No skills, no services, no knowledge to offer. Your money in your little country is that which you agree and have chosen to give him power to. Not some useless paper or material that they use to control you. I will talk about that in another video if I have time. 5. There should be no silent reader or observer. You see why I said that this is not a social media group and it begins as a virtual civic network society that will eventually become physical and bed the nation of our dream in the physical, right? So any silent reader or observer who does not offer values as specified in the operational framework or does not belong somewhere to show and participate actively should be kindly and politely excused, right? Silent readers can form their own country and remain silent there, not in your own country. 6. The most important driving value in your small country is the socio-moral communal spirit to support each other as valid citizens of your country. There is no victor, no victim, everybody is equal. So you can imagine a situation where you are stranded in a state or in a road that you're not familiar with very late at night, and you beckon on your country at that time, and all the citizens who are around that area will jump out in love to care like true brothers and sisters to help you out, and they risk everything that they have to make sure that this happens, because they believe and they know that not only that they love you, that you also can do that for other citizens around you. And that's the power I mean. Don't wait for any government or anymore to do anything for you or to promise you or to wait for them to start helping. Help yourselves with deep love and responsibility in your country and see what your country turns out to be in just 1 year. 7. Very importantly, as a little country, turn sincerely to God for help. There must be a day of dedication to God once in a month in your country. Decide that for yourselves. I always quote my brother that says, God is what it takes to be a human being and not religion. We want to find that God. It does nothing wrong. Why I want to be very specific about mentioning about religion is, don't actually bring in religion in this your small country. Just focus, because the essence of every religion is one God. Focus on one God. Live out. The idea of this is that so you can find a day when you can dedicate to God. You know how you want to make that dedication. Yes, you can do it in your own way, in your own religious way, your own rights way. But what comes in the forefront in your country is one true God. Whom without him, and like I said, it's the presence of him that makes us human. It takes that one God to become a human being. And that is the God you are seeking his face as in your own small country. So turning to God is not for easy miracles. You're not going there to ask for miracles. If he comes, it's fine anyway. But I know that miracles is very attractive to people once you could find one. But that's no problem. God could always give us one. If we find one, that is fine. But seek him as a country, not as a religion, for his grace and strength to be faithful to your commitment and efforts as a little Nigeria of your dream, just like I've mentioned before. Then 8, encourage your citizens to go into organic farming or any form of sustainable agriculture. Food, air, and water are the biggest natural support we always need, not gold and silver. Enable your agriculture ministry to guide your citizens into small sustainable farming that can support them minimally in hard times that the old Nigeria will always throw at you. You will need practical experienced farmers in that ministry, in your agriculture ministry, to guide your citizens into small, safe, organic, sustainable farming. And I wouldn't talk less. I can't explain more about this, why this is coming in these steps. It is very, very critical. You may not understand it now, but you understand it later. Okay? Now, 9, do whatever possible to ensure that your citizens find basic supports like shelter and clothing. There may be a lot of selfless sharing among your citizens. Note that every citizen of your small Nigeria must pass through the eligibility assessment documented in your framework, which includes having at least a skill or service to offer others in the community. Even if it's sweeping, cleaning, no matter what the job is, there's no discrimination so long as they are all doing something and they can do something, to add value to others. It's all fine, but it has to be specified as part of the eligibility criteria. This will qualify them to receive from other citizens. However, in our own small country, the Ubuntu Nigeria, like I mentioned to you, we made exemptions for senior citizens and physically challenged citizens, whom we shall care for as our parents and special brothers and sisters. We'll have these details in our country framework, which I'm willing to share, like I said before, to any small country if you need that. And I also guide you in following that. Now, 9, 10, now, make sure that your small country fully recognizes the laws of the land. The bigger Nigeria, that is the land, we have to make this very specific. Your citizens will be guided properly to keep the laws of Nigeria as a good citizen. We are not saying break all the laws because you are trying to transform. Remember what we said. The core of this solution is building your own system that will automatically, once people will see that, oh, this is where life is, this is working, the other system will naturally. We are not saying, collapse. So we're not saying go and start fighting the law, fight this thing and fight that. No, we are not into physical, that kind of protest, but we are trying to protest differently. So obey the laws of the land, okay, as good citizens. So this will be in addition to your own amended laws to suit the purpose of your own small country that the Nigerian laws are not able to fix. Remember, we are not creating new countries away from Nigeria, but we are creating new building blocks and building units within Nigeria as alternative solutions to transforming Nigeria into the new powerful national value system that will organically fix our multi-sectoral deficiencies in the country. And this will lead the world to the new human civilization. So be cautious of these facts. 11. Your country shall be willing to provide social support to the fallen citizens. Please be ready to provide support to any victim of bad governance among the citizens of your country. Let them know that the good citizens still care about them. Let them feel loved and have that sense of belonging, to belong to a good Nigeria of your dreams like yours. So these are the little prices they are going to pay. That won't take too much toll on the flesh for us to keep. Yeah. Then 12, this may be the most challenging of all the components of this model. Probably this is where the little mind power is needed, right? Strong mind power. Encourage your citizens to destroy death when they are still alive. What do I mean by that? This simply means do not be afraid to stand for the truth, for justice, or what is right in your little countries, even if it threatens your flesh or your life. And you will see fear depart from you for real. I am telling you honestly. And these are also the areas, like I said, that you will need God to prepare you and form your mind power for what is right. When you are still afraid to die or suffer for standing against injustice or stand for what is right, you are a very good candidate, puppet and slave for bad governance. The only trait that bad governance has on people is fear of death or deprivation to suffer them. But one of the biggest benefits and essence of your model country is to stand by each other if the wolves eventually attack. However, stay out of trouble that is against the law. Your country will not support you for beating the traffic because you trust that probably you do some funny things, trusting that your social capital in your country will defend you. No, that wouldn't work. They won't do that. The fact about defeating death while you are still alive is that if I'm afraid to die for doing what is right or seeking the truth and the light in the world, then I should be happy to live in bad governance with lies. I should also be happy to live in darkness with sufferings and agony without complaining. Work on your fears of truth against righteousness and justice and be free forever. Nobody is on earth here to last forever. Be brave and courageous to count the quality of life you live in uprightness and not the length of life you lived in fear, misery and darkness. That wouldn't count anywhere. 13. Once you have this virtual country set up, it doesn't have to be a perfect beginning. Just start running and keep welcoming Nigerians who want to be citizens in your country, in your own small country community, following your set down eligibility rules in your operational framework, right? The circumstance and atmosphere in your country should be able to make miscreants uncomfortable and they won't last before they are ejected or excused. So that is what it is. So they either choose to abide or be excused. As you grow as a people, you keep tightening the loose ends to ensure that the entire operations are guided by principles of character, equality, responsibility, respect, creativity, justice, and love. Now, I tell you, if you belong to such small country or community with such strong social moral support, you can survive any hardship on earth. You can even live in a country run by the devil himself. It does not promise to be easy, but it's like standing in against an extreme weather with people sticking to each other for warmth and figure out a way out of the mess than standing alone at the mercy of the weather. That is what we are driving at, and that's what this civic society is all about in hardship. Now, fourth thing, which is the last of these steps, once we have these virtual civic mini countries or communities begin to expand and multiply, outsiders will have to decide where to belong. The small countries finding comfort in their strengths in unity and ethics will eventually culminate into a new mindset and cultures of life that will lead us to the promised land. The new good governance driving the communities becomes an alternative model to the prevailing bad governance running us down. And trust what will happen in an election season. I will leave that for you to imagine. I will deliberately not discuss that now. It's going to be something else you've never seen, unbelievable. And part of this is, like I mentioned, about being part of the government and being part of obeying the laws of the land and so on and so forth. Part of it is election. We will never stop participating in election, whether the votes count or not. But let me not talk much about that when we get there. Okay? So I leave that to your imagination. What will happen when we get there? Now, this is the very refined organic process that Nigeria would show the world. It is stronger than guns and bullets. A few of my colleagues have started creating our own community with a very detailed working document that took over 6 years to develop. I know I've mentioned about this our government before. This is our own mini country. So we call ours, like I mentioned before, is Ubuntu Nigeria, or New Nigeria Ubuntu in short form. So our foundational ethics are founded on the Ubuntu principle. That is the age-long original African philosophy of life. Yes, that comes like a question why people ask, if they want to join us. Yes, you can join us when we are ready to welcome citizens, and if you meet the eligibility of our own citizenship and membership in our country. But again, you don't have to join us. I won't even encourage piling up in one country. You can create yours and begin. I prefer to have many models of manageable sizes of these countries that will culminate into a bigger new Nigeria of our dreams than all joining into one country at this formative phase. Let's begin little by little with manageable sizes until we get it right. Then we can now start forming, into the bigger one. So what matters now is that we begin an organic journey of transforming our country. That's what matters right now. And this is the quickest way of alleviating the immediate harsh pains of bad governance meted on us right now. Endless complaints won't lead us anywhere but increase our hopelessness. So we are building a new foundation for Nigeria with the understanding that the existing foundation and mindset in Nigeria and Africa is totally wrong and cannot sustain our country. We have to start from here. I will have to start from somewhere. So this model will help us direct our negative energy away from the current bad governance and focus our positive energy on our self-governance as a new country unit and building blocks of the new alternative solutions and systems for our new country. We will detach ourselves from the events of bad governance and allow it face a natural death as we focus on our welfare as new citizens while we still respect the laws of the old system with firm heart of justice and boldness to stand on the truth and gradually accompany the old system to its funeral ground with sincere prayers to never come back again, not even in 1,000 generations of our generations as a country. So when we do this with due diligence and sincerity, we shall awaken the collective power of truth, love and light, which is always alive in us as a people to act. And I tell you, what will break this anti-human bad governance in Nigeria will be so little and useless that people wouldn't even see it coming. Even the people in power wouldn't even see it coming, even though they will focus on what they think that they are hearing now or what I am talking about or the solutions, and they're also working out ways to still maintain and keep in the status quo. They will never see it coming. Once we have good number of many countries set up, then the show begins, and only then shall we see and know that God has a purpose for Nigeria, because we shall see the new dawn in our lifetime. God bless the new Nigeria. Thank you for listening.